Hi everyone, I'm Grahtles and welcome to a new episode of City Skylines. So I took on a massive project again, and I used all of the park's DLCs. So I made a zoo, I made a nature reserve, I made an amusement park, and I made a city park, and I put a concerts venue right in the middle. So yeah, without further ado. So like I said, this thing was a massive undertaking, and I started with the zoo. Now originally this was one piece of land, and it was just too big. And instead of splitting up the land in two, like put a, I don't know, like a line down the middle, I decided to make two islands out of it and make them separate. And yeah, it worked out quite nicely. I drew in the paths. I tried to make everything pretty equal going around. We have a water feature in the zoo, and I really wanted that to be the center of attraction when you walk in the front door there and you see the ship right in the middle there. I thought that looked nice. And I kind of freeformed this all the way around and added in every single attraction that we had. I really didn't want to play the whole thing for you. I could have split this into really 3 or 4 episodes, but I decided that one big episode using all the parks, everything in the parks DLC, just made sense to me. I don't know why, I thought it worked for me. I didn't want to spend every week putting out a new park. So I thought, I'll just do it all in one episode, and yeah. So here I'm just leveling off the ground, the paths to match the ground length. And so it kind of all matches and it doesn't all bump up and stuff like that. Overall, let's cut to the end of this, or close to the end of this. A lot of this is fiddling around. So yeah. Alright, so here I am. I just have a couple of other buildings that I was placing in. I like to place all the buildings out and then connect paths where I think it should be or where the building should be. I also like to sometimes set it away from the road and add a path going in, like you just saw. Another thing is some of these attractions have paths attached to the building themselves, and so you don't have to make a path to them. Basically, you just make them from them, if that makes sense. And yeah, I filled a lot of it in with the jungle trees, or like the trees that came within the zoo setting to match it. And yeah, let's go ahead and get to the end. So here we are, just filling it in with some of the trees. Like I said, I used the trees that are pretty much attached to all these buildings. It just was a nice fit for it. And yeah, it came out nice. It filled in the space. It wasn't tight, but it wasn't an enormous amount of space for each of these things. I put a fence around the whole thing. I was going to use the multi-tool, network. I can't think of the word of it. This is it. And to do it all the way around, I just decided I wasn't going to do it. It's a lot of work. I did use it, I think, in the parks one eventually. But yeah, I just ended up putting in the fence, freeforming it, and it's fine. It could have been that they just put it in and left it with spaces and gaps, and that's fine. It's all closed in. It's just that it doesn't make that nice curve. As you can see, I kind of make it straight and just block it in a little bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and see the final product. Next up, we start the Nature Reserve Park. And you can't exactly have a flat Nature Reserve Park. It just wouldn't look right. So I started taking out my terraform tool and making these little mountains and, ridges, and just making it look kind of natural as best as possible. And I didn't want it too steep because we needed to put in our trails. which here we go here. And I did leave some of the stuff that left little bridges, like it was coming across the land and it was just up a little bit. I really do like that. I also added in I also left some of the bridges above, but I did put land in between it. You'll see it here, just so it's not too long of a span, because it would look very unnatural if it was too long of a span. So I definitely added some land underneath that to make it flat. And it also gave us a great opportunity to add our lookout points up there. So we get like 2 different lookout points. So here I added some of the fishing cabins, and I also believe I add some fishing piers from the city parks one. Next, I start adding in some of the tents and cabins. There's different ones, different sizes. Some of them remind me of maybe a class trip, and they're going on an overnight trip, and it's a very large camping area that's all together as one. I'm trying to fit it in here. It's super hard, as sometimes it pops up the land and you have to make sure it's flat. And some of these are quite large of pieces. The cabins aren't so much, but these, kind of group things are definitely a lot bigger. Here I think I fit in, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just adding some roads, trails. I made a circle for some crazy reason. I have no idea why, but yeah, I did that for, I don't know. But here's those nice little lookout towers, the 2 different sizes that look pretty nice up there. And then I think I go back and I get this really large cabins area, which is super nice. I did bob the trees because the trees were very palm tree. Nobody wants palm trees in a nature reserve. It just doesn't look good. But yeah, that came out nice with the bob. I leveled it out and it looks really good. Let's take a look at the results. So last up, but definitely not least, we put in our Amusement concert city park. And first I wanted to put a road that kind of split these 2 in half. And the reason being is I definitely need a road to put in the concerts DLC, and they need to come in on the road. They do not have passenger vehicles allowed on the road. I don't know if I showed that or not, but anyway, I removed it with TMPE, so the passenger vehicles would not be allowed on this. So they have to come in just like everybody else on the monorail, and then they can walk down the road into the concert area. Next up, I start working on the amusement side. So we put in the main gate already, and I kind of wanted the roller coaster kind of centered to the park, being the main attraction. And I did the Ferris wheel and those like drop towers down on the end there on either side. There's a swinging boat and a water park. And I thought this was, or a water float ride, I would say. So anyway, I kind of centered these main attractions right down to the middle, because these are also the biggest rides that we do have in this part of the Amusement DLC. And next, I just kind of build the roads or paths around it. Lastly, I filled in the park sides with the plaza areas, the restrooms, cafes, the little rides like the carousel and the piggy ride. There's a couple little games, and then I filled it in with trees so it looked all nice and full. And here's a look at that. Lastly, it was time to start the city park. I did it by running a path around the lake that I had put in there, and then I just pretty much ran paths throughout the whole area. And then I started adding all the stuff that goes with it. We have quite a lot of things that come with the parks. Just like all the parks, they have these chess games and jumping areas. They have playgrounds, plazas, cafe, restrooms, park information booths, and they have some fishing piers or some kind of piers that go into overlooking the water. And yeah, I just go ahead and add in some of these things, and I fill it in with trees. And then I thought it would be a nice space to add maybe a part of the park where they can play soccer, throw a frisbee, and just have this open, nice, airy area. I also added a small segment that I had fenced off to be like a dog park within the park itself. So people can come in there, and I put a little dog park sign and a little dog water bowl for them over in that area as well. Alright, so now that we're done with our last park, let me just show you some snapshots and some walkthroughs of each of the parks.